Let's talk about one big move around baseball that we want to talk about real quick before we get to the Where Are They Now segment. Cody Bellinger is off the market, signs a contract with the Chicago Cubs, the team with whom it made the most sense for him to return. A 3-year, $80 million deal, but it really is a series of one-year deals because there are opt-outs at the end of each year of this contract. This is very similar to the Carlos Correa deal that he signed with the Minnesota Twins a few years ago. Then he tried to get out of it, tried to sign with the Giants. They turned that down and tried to sign with the Mets. The physical got in the way of that too. That was a big blunder. He went back to the Twins, and that's where he's going to be the rest of his career. Cody Bellinger, who knows how long he'll be with Chicago, but he's there in 2024, which then takes you to, the other guys who are still out there, like the Jordan Montgomerys, the Blake Snells, the Matt Chapmans. This is the kind of deal that I think these guys are going to get offered, right? A 1 year, like a 2 or 3 year deal with opt-outs at the end of each one of these years. Do you think that's an interest for the Phillies, or do you just kind of think we're good? Like, are we good? We don't need to be doing like a 3-year deal for Jordan Montgomery with opt-outs after each of them?
I wouldn't say no.
I think the Phillies consider themselves kind of done.
Yeah, I think you are right.
Are we not getting that vibe from them? But then I always go to say that, and then I think, I don't know, but they've surprised us even the last couple of years. They've surprised people. So I'm not surprised by how things went with Bellinger. The deal was a little interesting, but that he went back to the Cubs, I was just assuming that was going to happen at some point.
Yeah.
But as far as like that, I don't know. I mean, the other side of that is that we've been saying Dave Dombrowski's kind of waited for this point. It seemed like he was waiting for guys to reach this point where he could offer the deal he wanted to offer and have more leverage because it was so late in the game. But yeah, for the most part, I don't think the Phillies have anything. Like, they've closed that drawer. They're moving on to trying to win games in the Grapefruit League.
Liz, I saw somebody also write, like, it can be a distraction, like, to add somebody this late in the game. Now, if it's a really, really good player, good distraction, I guess, right?
Who said that?
I was just going to be
I don't know.
Spring training is barely a week old. It's a distraction from the dudes doing what? Taking their kids to the beach after spending 15 minutes sitting in the dugout and getting one plate appearance? Like, there's no distraction at this point. Adding a player in the playoffs would be a distraction, which is why they don't do that, which is why you can't do that. Adding a player at any point really is not like a distraction. That's just dumb.
If a player or like players were like, oh, a little known fact, is actually very distracting to add new guys once spring training is underway for the following reasons. Okay, like that would believe that, but that's why I'm like, who said that? Because if it's just like
I forget where I read that.
Then it's like, well, what you don't know that,
no.
And it never has been before. This wouldn't be the first time guys were added to a team in the middle of spring training.
No.
If it's not distracting at the trade deadline when the games matter, then I can't imagine it's that distracting now. Or maybe it's like, oh, a new guy is here to compete for a job who wasn't here before. I don't know.
Which baseball writers don't you guys like? That's who wrote it.
John.
Just
that sounds like a Heyman.
Just fill in a blank. I have no idea. I don't remember, but let's just